Inspector General Gustafson, I noted in your testimony, and we've talked a little bit today about the fraud that was uncovered in the Service Disabled Veteran Program. You mentioned that your office is working with the Department of Justice to prosecute companies that were found to have defrauded the program. Can you give us a little detail on exactly what you're doing with the Department of Justice and how far along you've gotten?
As they are active criminal investigations, I can't. I will tell you that we pursued, we opened a case on every instance that GAO found, and we are still, some of these cases, many of these cases are still active, and we really do, and we anticipate getting some movement and getting some actions, getting some indictments. And when that happens, I can fill you in, but until then, in an open hearing, I really can't. I'm sorry.
Okay. Can you talk a little bit about, you mentioned talking with Administrator Mills on an action plan and getting some input from her on some of the steps that can be taken to strengthen the enforcement, particularly on debarment and suspension. Can you talk a little bit about some of the specific steps you'd like to see, and going back to the bid protest phase? And you mentioned that one of the challenges, and I hear this from a lot of constituent companies at home, that they feel like the burden has been on them sometimes to point out the problem rather than having that happen as a matter of automatic course. Can you talk about what you would like to see?
Right. That's exactly right on the bid protest. I mean, it's good to have a robust bid protest process in case a losing bidder happens to have the information where they can pursue it, but the timelines are short and the burden is really tough. What I'd like to see is a multi-step. First, again, it's important that Administrator Mills has said that she will kick people, she will make sure the SBA is kicking people out of the program that don't belong there. But it really is going to be kind of a big change for the agency to kind of see themselves as a strong enforcement authority. There needs to be some very strong training on what these programs are, when suspension is appropriate, when debarment is appropriate. We are always worried about programs where it's a self-certification program where you don't have to do a lot on the front end to prove that you should be in there. And service disabled is one of those where there's a lot of leeway to just kind of get yourself on the list, and we're concerned about that. Again, this is something we need to work with the VA on as well, but it concerns us. There needs to be, one of the things they're doing, for example, in the Women's Small-Owned Business, which is a new program that they've announced some regs for, is requiring documents to be there so that people can see. You know, it's not just enough. You can't just say, yes, I qualify because I'm this, this, and this, and this. You have to submit some documents to show that. I think that is crucial. It's too much emphasis on the tail end will never be completely effective. You have to have people hesitate before they decide to try to get in these programs, and I'm not sure that that's happening right now.
Okay. Administrator Mills, can you just comment on your thoughts on steps that you will be taking to try to enhance that? And also, can you talk a little bit about your approach towards perhaps using suspension as maybe an intermediary step that might be easier to pursue than debarment?
We see in all our procurement programs 3 phases of going after fraud, waste, and abuse. The first is on the front end, whether it's certification or in the cases of self-certification, we actually send a letter requiring people under penalty of perjury to re-self-certify, and you know, just making sure that they know that we're serious and that they have to be eligible. The second is site visits, ongoing monitoring. So once someone is in a program, we need to visit them, and as I said earlier, we're up to more than 1,000 site visits in HubZone, for instance, in order to make sure that people who are supposed to be in the program stay. And the third is we are committed to going after the bad actors. We are very grateful for the partnership with the IG. We think the suggestions the IG has made for training and other changes in order to be more effective in going after bad actors are very valuable, and we're going to pursue them aggressively. This is a very high priority.
And just one last question. Do you intend to make greater use of unannounced site visits, the kind that really, I think, have a little bit more effect since they don't know you're coming?
Yes.
Thank you. I yield back.